Hello, fellow passive income investors. Welcome to today's update. Today is going to be a very important update for your income investing journey because I'm going to reveal 10 higher income ETFs that do not have NAV erosion. We're going to start from the top one to the last one. So the first one I'm going to start with is Neo S&P 500, and this is a SPYI. Check this. The price today is 53.56, and this ETF has returned 73.2 or compound annual growth rate of 15.13, and it does not pay huge distributions, only like 11%, 11 to 12%. At one point, it can go all the way to 15, depends on the price you're buying. But if you look at this, there's no NAV erosion. All the metrics here are all green. So total return with no drip, total return with the drip. If we look at the share price has gone up. If we look at the dividend increase, is going up. So everything is pretty good. This is number one on the list. Now we're going to number two. Number two is Neo Nasdaq 100, and this is a QQQI. The price is 55.98. And you can see total return is 58.4 and compound annual growth rate of 20.20, and total return with no drip, it's up 48 or 17% per year, and share price is up. And if you look at the dividend, it has increased its distribution by 11%. Pretty good. This one pays a little bit higher than the previous one I mentioned. This pays around 14%, but you can see all the numbers are pretty good. And if I show the chart here, you can see the darker green here is with a drip. So that means you reinvest your distributions. If you look at the lighter green, is just a share price going up with no reinvestment plan. Number three is going to be a Goldman Sachs S&P 500 Core Premium Income ETF. This is a GPIX, and the price 55.51 cents. And this one has returned massively. And the reason actually this one has shown this is because it has been out for a little bit longer than the previous one I showed you, but this has returned 597. Remember, Goldman Sachs ETF, they're very, very sturdy. They don't pay huge distributions, as you can see here. The dividend yield is only 8.51, but check this. It has returned a compound annual growth rate of 100%. It's a pretty insane. So if you want to grow your money, it's one of those ETF you can invest your money and grow massively. But again, you're not going to get a huge monthly income. And the next ETF I'm going to show you also is from Goldman Sachs. This is a NASDAQ though, but has returned 665 or 112% compound annual growth rate. Dividend yield here is only 10.79, so around 11%. With the dividend increase over 38%, this is impressive, guys. There are a lot of ETFs that you might want to pay attention to because check this, man, this is way better than the ETFs that you're going to get 40 to 60% because you're going to have NAV erosion. ETFs like this, they're not going to pay you that much in terms of distributions, but there is a huge share price return. As you can see here, share price has returned 477. Again, these ETFs have been around for a little bit longer, so this return is extended period of time. So it's not only for just a couple years. The fifth ETF I'm going to reveal today is JPMorgan Equity Premium Income ETF, JEPI. This ETF was one of those popular ETFs that came out a few years back. And the price today is 56.58, has returned 91.1 or compound annual growth rate of only 11%. So it doesn't have huge growth. But JEPI was one of the popular ETFs, and a lot of people invested a lot. I think in 2020, during COVID, I think it was crazy. A lot of people jumped into this ETF and invested their money. But recently, there are more income ETFs came out. So people have maybe sold a lot of these and buy other ETFs that pay huge distributions. And if you look at no drip, it's only 72 or compound annual growth rate of 9% or 9.37. And share price has returned around 13.7. So if you add with the distributions, then you get that 11%. But the forward dividend is very little. Depends on how much they pay and what the price is at that time. But the dividend of this ETF is not that huge. It's only like around maximum around 10 to 12%. The sixth ETF is JPMorgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF, JPQ. This also was one of those popular ETFs, came out a few years back. During COVID, again, because people wanted to receive some income, this ETF saw a lot of inflow, meaning a lot of people put their money into this ETF. But since that time, we see a bunch of income ETFs issuer came out, like YieldMax, like Roundhill, or Neos. They all came up with different ETFs. So people sold this because it doesn't pay huge distributions. As you can see here, it's only about 13%. And you remember the other ETFs that used to pay like 40 to 60%. So people were really enticed with those higher yield. But then the thing is, the higher the yield, usually the more the riskier, and you end up losing your NAV. But you can see this one hasn't lost its NAV, and this has been more than 4 years. It has returned annually, compound growth rate of 15, around up to like 16%. And with no drip is around 13%. Share price has increased by 17.8, or annual growth rate of between 4 to 5%. And when it comes to distributions and dividends, it has been increasing its distributions by 13.4. Very impressive. Now, the seventh ETF I'm going to show you today is Amplify Enhanced Dividend Income, DIVO. Price 46.31. You can see here today it kind of went down. After hours is rebounding. And the return of this ETF is very impressive, has returned 207. But this is a performance for a long time, over 9 years, closer to 10 years. But compound growth rate is around 11%. But it has been increasing its distribution by like a 3% compound growth annual rate. So it's not that bad. Distribution, they don't pay huge distribution, around 4%. It's pretty much less than 10%. So if you want to just make money and receive a little distribution, you might look into this, but this is not going to be one of the top in the list I'm going to suggest. The eighth ETF is from Title Trust, YieldMax. This is GPIX. And GPIX has been doing great. The price today is 77.54 cents. It went up today. And if you look at total return, compound annual growth rate within a year and a half since it came out, it is 124% compound growth annual rate. And if you look at the just with no drip, and if you look at the return with no drip, no reinvesting or the distributions, you are up about 95% annual growth rate. When it comes to share price, has returned more than 50%. If you just take the price without including all the distributions, if you look at the dividend increase, it has been increasing its distributions by 73.3, or compound annual growth rate of 57%. And the distribution rate right now is closer to 40%. It ranges between 30 to 40. Again, this is only one of these ETF in this list here that pays weekly. The other ones pay usually monthly. So if you want to receive weekly distributions with a really good ETF, this is one of them. The ninth ETF I'm going to reveal is Rex Fang and Innovation Equity Premium Income ETF, FEPI. I made a video when this ETF came out, and the price today is 42. It has returned 69% since it came out. That was 2.8 years ago. So closer to 3 years, and check compound annual growth rate is only 21%. And that's with the drip, reinvesting all your distributions. If you don't reinvest, you are up only 16% per year. But altogether, since it came out, is around 52%. But when you look at the share price, since it came out, there is a negative there. So yes, if you include your distributions, you are up. But if you look at the share price itself, it's down. But again, it's only 15%. This is not huge compared to other ETFs from, let's say, YieldMax or Tesla and those type of ETFs, right? So it's not that bad. Again, only if you put all your distributions back to the share price, then you're up. When it comes to dividend increase, it hasn't increased its distribution. So this is pretty much one of the lowest on this list here. And if we look at the dividend yield, it pays a little bit higher, around 25%. The last but not the least is from Tapa Alpha. This is TSPY. I made a video when this ETF came out, and I did, I think, income guidance on this. I don't remember, but if you look at the price today, it's one of the cheapest at only 25.52. But it has, within just a year, 0.9, just around 2 years, it has returned with a distribution compound growth rate of 16.5 to 17%. And if we look at the dividend yield, this one doesn't pay huge distributions. It does pay usually between 12% to 18%, depends on the time you're buying, if it's up or if it's down. So again, guys, these are 10s monthly or weekly paying ETFs that do not have NAV erosion. The only one that has a little bit NAV erosion is the only one that had a little bit NAV erosion was FEPI, but all of the other ones I showed you, they don't have enough erosion. They have been growing massively. So if you want to invest your money and receive monthly or weekly distributions, those 10 are income ETFs you should consider buying. Again, there's no guarantee this past performance will continue this way. Now, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to make a video guidance on all of these incomes. So I'm going to show you how much you need to invest in each one of them to generate set amount of income. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next video. Bye bye.